So welcome everybody to the Meraki Quarterly. This is our first foray into 2021. My name is Michael Singer and I'll be your MC for today. I'm really excited for today's show. We're now in our fourth year with the Meraki Quarterly and we're glad you're joining us. This webinar was created for you to understand and to catch up with what's been happening over the past calendar quarter. We always have a lot going on across the portfolio and we're expanding that every single day. So what I want to do is just get into some of the details about the Meraki Quarterly. The webinar is presented predominantly by product marketers, but we also have some guest speakers, and indeed we have a very esteemed one with us today. This webinar is targeted at established Meraki customers and partners. If you're joining us for the very first time and you're brand new to Cisco Meraki, you are very welcome to join us. We're excited to have you along. And if you find the material a little bit heavy going, that may be because we're assuming a certain amount of knowledge about the platform already. So if you're brand new to us, please stick around and pick up what you can and come back to one of our introductory webinars. This is a look back over the last quarter, and we love to always reiterate at the beginning of the quarter. So that leads me to say that this is a roadmap-free zone. So we're really looking back here. We want to make sure that you're caught up on everything we've announced. So please bear that in mind as we go through. Some quick housekeeping and answers to commonly asked questions. For example, will this webinar be recorded? And the answer is yes. You got questions? Well, please submit them in the Q&A tab using your WebEx console. And is this one of those webinars where I get free gear? Well, not at this particular time, but we do host introductory webinars that cover specific products where you can receive free gear for eligible participants. And now, without further ado, I'm going to pass the mic over to my colleague, Juan Vela. Juan, take it away.
Thanks, Michael. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Juan Vela. I am the Global Head of Market Strategy here at Meraki. And I thank you for, number one, attending today, and number two, for bearing with us. I apologize for any of the technical difficulties that may have caused any inconvenience or have delayed, obviously, our start time this morning. But again, thank you for joining. I have the privilege of leading a very talented and passionate group of marketers. As Michael mentioned, one of the groups that's part of my team is the product marketing team. And we are eager to share with you a number of updates that are, as Michael mentioned, basically related to the previous quarter's activities. So basically just the highlight reel, if you will, of some of the recent developments in our portfolio. I want to kind of give you a little bit of context for what you'll see today. As many of you are familiar with our portfolio and our platform in particular, we've spent a lot of time trying to simplify the migration towards cloud for all IT. And I think the jury has largely come back that we did a pretty good job of doing that. A lot of validation from our customers and from the market in general have shown that most customers feel that the migration to cloud is well underway now. In fact, it has been greatly simplified through the use of our platform. As we look ahead, I think what you'll see in the updates that you'll see today, we're driving towards a greater degree of autonomy now in IT networking. And we'll be leveraging really core technologies like machine learning and artificial intelligence as we make our way towards this autonomous future. We'll be leveraging things like deep learning and neural networks for the sake of object detection in our cameras. We'll be doing things like establishing smart thresholds in application performance through our MX product, which is a key part of our SD-WAN portfolio. And these are just examples, a couple of examples of how we're leveraging these advanced technologies to solve challenges that you deal with every single day. So again, without too much detail, I just want to give you a sense for what we're working towards. This is essentially the roadmap towards the autonomous future, and our products have a variety of capabilities and features that lead into these recommendations and optimization techniques, ultimately driving towards greater autonomy. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Praveen, who's going to walk us through some of the updates that are related to our general platform. Praveen?
Thanks, Juan. And I'd like to kick this off firstly by looking back at a new milestone that we hit in the past quarter, which is 3 million active networks worldwide. So from all of us at Meraki to you customers, 3 million thank yous. All of these green dots that you see here are networks which are running live today on the Meraki cloud platform itself. And as Juan was referring to the different paths that we are ultimately heading towards an autonomous future, this is where all the magic gets created. This is where all the networks are being built and all the data which is being soaked up through various means, telemetry, etc., where the intelligence is gathered across multiple different functions, from the wired to wireless to switching to SD-WAN to security to IoT camera sensors, all of those. That's where this magic really happens. Again, 3 million thank yous to each one of you on making this happen. Now, as we continue to build on this momentum, one of the core philosophies of Meraki has been to simplify everything. We've been doing that through demos, which all of you have experienced on our website. Well, we've just taken to the next level. We are introducing Instant Demo, and this is a newly updated Meraki demo environment, completely driven by the cloud platform. It continues to feature a full range of Meraki products and solutions, and you do see the URL there, where you can go and experience the ease of change with the Meraki platform and the Meraki dashboard itself. Now, to make it even easier, what we've done is one of the solutions marketers has developed a series of videos, a video tutorial series, and that's Jordan. Some of you are familiar with him. Every couple of weeks, we will have a video tutorial to explain and introduce some of the features of this demo environment. There are some examples or images that you see here of the dashboard itself. And really, there are two ways in which you can access the new demo environment: the dashboard, which all of you are familiar with, and also the Cisco D Cloud, which is a fully scripted, customizable environment, and that is available also in the cloud itself. The Cisco D Cloud is a broad catalog of solutions featuring demos, trainings, and a sandbox environment. So again, go to this URL and get your demos going. This is now even easier than before. Building on the developments from the previous quarters, for this quarter, the last quarter, as Michael mentioned, this is really a look back. We introduced 17 new API endpoints. That represents a 38% increase year over year. And right now we stand a little over 450 API endpoints. That is tremendous in terms of the amount of integrations that we have across the platform itself. One example of this is now we have the webhook alerts, which are sent to the Cisco WebEx platform as well as the Slack. With this, you no longer need any servers or development to have these alerts sent to these platforms. They are configurable via the GUI and using the API tools themselves. What these alerts do is that it shapes the signals for the target service, for WebEx, for Slack, for example, so that you get these alerts directly represented or directly notified on those platforms. You can get instant alerts to your WebEx channels and to your Slack channels. So this is available from this quarter on. Another update is about the firmware management API, and that is shipping right now. It's in beta. What this allows us is to have upgrades, rollbacks, version selection, and scheduling of the firmware updates on your Meraki devices. Now, we've always had this through the dashboard user interface, and that's good for small, medium enterprises. Now, with this API-based approach, it is good for having, say, 100,000 devices being upgraded at the same time, an enterprise level firmware upgrade. You can also have custom firmwares, all of them scheduled with this API. Let's continue building on from APIs now to the ecosystem that is again expanded to 141 total apps. 12 of them have been onboarded this quarter, and some of them here, you see the logos here, OpenPath, for example, which is to do with access control. The Meraki cloud integration with OpenPath really is a combination of having a real-time video feed from the Meraki cameras combined with the access control that the OpenPath platform provides. What you could do with this is ensure that the badge credentials match the person entering any facility. It's a touchless cloud-based mobile entry, and now you have a combined video feed and the badge entry matched for administrators to audit activity or even to deny admission to any facilities. The University of Virginia Biocomplexity Institute is using this today. Some of the apps include the Contact.io smart healthcare app. That's to optimize the workflows in a hospital setting and also track assets like heart monitors, other healthcare assets. Place OS that maximizes space utilization to provide the ROI for space, room, and desk use. SkyFi, that's another integration through IOSite, that's their app, which integrates with the Meraki Cloud for location intelligence for venues, and also wait time. And they have a patented AI-driven real-time crowd intelligence where they use imaging techniques for crowd loading, social distancing, queuing, etc. So we've been busy. There have been a lot of integrations, and these are some of them. You can request a demo in the Meraki marketplace. Again, you have the URL there. You can go and explore the multitude of different solutions, over 140 of them in that marketplace app. I would want to talk about one featured partner here, and that is the Splash Access MDU solution. We've had some recent successes in the past quarter deploying the education and campus module with Splash Access. What this does is it provides an in-home education experience to students inside their dorms. And we do this through a combination of techniques, a device onboarding portal that allows the students to self-administer using Mac authentication, a custom splash page where they scan bulletin boards for the university, creating a personal DOM VLANs, and also access control for unrecognized devices. So all of this, we've been working with Splash Access to provide these tools and facilities to at least 2 of the universities here in the States. And if we continue to the next section, on the cloud platform, some of the features which we have introduced in the past quarter relates to the Meraki mobile app. So we do have the Meraki mobile app version 4.4.0 that's released. It has a newly redesigned organizational and network picker. And there are some other new features. Here are some screenshots of those new features, a new redesigned left panel on the mobile app itself, just making it more easy for users to go and troubleshoot their networks. You also have device alerts and alerting devices, connected clients page, and also the MX uplink information for SD-WAN connections. From a FIPS standpoint, this is more for the US federal requirements. We have FIPS 142 compliance achieved, MR and MS, and you see the different versions here, 16.x for MX, 28.x for MR, and 15.x for the MS products. And finally, we introduced or published the Python SDK 1.6.2. This is a toolkit that simplifies the handling of dashboard API calls. You no longer need to have direct requests using HTTP or REST APIs to undertake any of the functions like, say, logging or error handling or any of the retries. These are pre-built, and you can, through this SDK, deploy these automatically. So that's the update from the platform end. And now I will pass the baton over to David for wireless. David?
Thanks, Raveen. Hey, everybody. This is David. I'm product marketing for Meraki Wireless. So I wanted to give you a few updates today in terms of where Meraki Wireless has been going and some of the new capabilities that you have actually today in your dashboard. So we'll go through that. So as we look back over history, Meraki Wireless has continued to innovate and release new capabilities and features, and these come for free into your dashboard and make your Meraki Wireless access point more powerful over time. And one of the more recent ones that we released last year was Meraki Health, which helps make your troubleshooting much more proactive, much more automated, and reduces your troubleshooting from hours to minutes. And in fact, we have seen that across the board as Meraki users have been able to save upwards of 50 to 70% of their time troubleshooting their wireless compared to their previous solutions. So this is a really big deal, particularly because wireless has traditionally been a really complicated and complex medium to deal with. So a few things that actually were rolled out just yesterday. If you've got a Meraki Wi-Fi 5 or 802.11 AC Wave 2 access point or a Wi-Fi 6 access point and you're operating MR27.x firmware or above, you will have received some of these new updates that I'll be discussing here today in your dashboard, and you can go check them out right now. And one of those is smart alerts, and these help to improve the automation and reduce noise in your network, and we're using machine learning to accomplish that. Another piece is more guided troubleshooting as it pertains to sticky clients And then there's also some new metrics available in regards to onboarding and performance of clients and access points. So your troubleshooting can become really proactive. And all of these new capabilities, Praveen just talked about the APIs and the solutions. All of these capabilities in Meraki Health will be available via API as well. So if you're operating a large complex network and you want to take advantage of some of these new metrics and use that for third-party troubleshooting solutions or your own custom-built troubleshooting solutions, you can do that. So diving into the first feature, smart alerts. If you go to organization-wide alerts, you're able to now configure a new section, and instead of defining specific metrics by which you want to be notified of this alert, you can just trigger smart thresholds. And this is using the same machine learning technology that is used in Meraki Insight to basically look over historical metrics and determine any anomalies based on the patterns that are traditionally seen in your network. So instead of receiving a bunch of noisy alerts, you're going to be able to receive personalized alerts based on your network to notify you if there are any issues with clients connecting to your network. And what you'll get is an email, and you see the snapshot of an example there on the right, and the email will notify you of the issue that the smart threshold has detected, and it will provide some recommended next steps as well and ask you whether or not the alert was helpful. So a lot of information in that email, make it really rich and help you with any of your future troubleshooting. Another capability that was rolled out is sticky client detection. And this is a challenge that a lot of people face when, for example, they walk into the lobby of a building and a device will connect up to a wireless access point in that lobby. And then as they move throughout the building, it'll stay connected to that lobby AP and it won't transition over to some of the new access points. Well, now there's a detection system built into the Meraki dashboard where it can say, hey, we've detected a poor performance on this lobby AP that the iPhone is connected to. Would you like to move it over to a better performing AP? We've detected a few other ones that can give you better performance. So you'll get a nice little easy button there that you can click, move that client over to the new AP, and see if that has resolved your issue. In addition, there's a bunch of new metrics around onboarding and performance. And if you want to view some of this, if you go to your tabular access point summary view, you'll be able to click the little wrench on the side and add onboarding and performance scores and see which access points, for example, are having issues with that. And you can do the same on the clients page. So you can kind of sort through your entire list of clients and determine which ones are having issues onboarding and which ones may be having performance issues. Really helps to automate the troubleshooting and pinpoint any specific access points or clients that might be underperforming. So all of those updates are included as of yesterday to, again, any Meraki dashboard user that's got wireless access points, Wi-Fi 5 and 6 with MR27.X firmware. So I'll pass it over to Michael to update everybody on switching.
Thank you, David. All right, so we're going to cover some items here for our switching, and you're going to start by discussing improvements to this past quarter to adaptive policy. This is a reminder that adaptive policy is our first step in tag-based security policy for groups that you can customize. It's supported both for the MS switches and MR wireless products. And with adaptive policy, you can identify and use those inline security group tags. You can create organization-wide internet-based policies and create micro-segmentation. So this first slide is going to show a completely revamped policy view. We made it a lot simpler to understand and make it easier for you to find the policies that you set. You can search and sort by search policy so that you can see one easy to understand search results. The biggest benefit is that it's IP agnostic. That means you can effectively build policies and not worry about what the subnet looks like. You can also control a lot of the communication within your network at a very granular level. Now, this is not just a Meraki thing. So we can actually share different attributes within Cisco without you having to do extra work. And this is well supported as a protocol that runs along TrustSec, SD Access, Firepower, and others. Now, in the next two slides, I'm going to show you how to configure what is known as a TrustSec as an IP to SGT map in adaptive policy. And these are used to map clients and or subnets to adaptive policy groups that have not maybe had a group assigned statistically or by radius. Now we know that not all networks or Meraki networks or tagging capable networks. So this improvement to adaptive policy functionality provides resources for you and your clients to communicate externally. So as traffic comes into your network or leaves your network, you can apply specific policies. If I'm an outsider coming into a network, for example, through a number of means, such as radius or static IP, the administrator can restrict or permit access to the network using role-based access control. Now, in the previous slide, you saw how you can create that adaptive policy object. Now we're going to show how we map that policy to specific groups. We took a look at the approach of the policy objects to provide an easy navigation method of assigning multiple IP addresses. And in this case, what we're doing is the traffic is entering. I can assign these two object binding items to this particular person, lab VLAN and lab VLAN 2. So for example, if I'm in an accounting, I might be able to talk to other accounting and access those assets, or I can talk to human resources. But if, for example, I want to restrict accounting from talking to sales, I can use those policy groups as well. Secondly, we're really happy to announce that Secure Connect's public release is now available through our beta process. You have to have the MS-14 and the proper codesec to be able to access this feature. The beta is officially closed, and Secure Connect is now available to all of our Meraki customers. However, please note that this is available for the MS-210 switches and above, and works seamlessly with the latest Meraki MMR wireless access points. Now, the benefits, of course, and just in case you forgot, Secure Connect, you can attach capable Meraki MR access points to the switch. It's going to be automatically authenticated and modified to implement traffic and security restrictions, and still allow it to communicate with the Meraki dashboard. So for more information on that, you're going to want to check out our Secure Connect documentation page. And with that, I'm going to hand this over to Iris for System Manager.
All right, thanks, Michael. Hi, everyone. This is Iris. I am the Product Marketing Manager for Systems Manager, and I have 4 exciting updates for you today. As we continue to build out our iOS features, we're also investing in expanding our Android capabilities. So I'll start with our first Android feature, Android Always On VPN. So as many of us continue to work from home, it is really important for organizations to provide effective and secure remote access. So that's why we have brought Always On VPN to our Android users. Admins can configure and enforce a VPN app for internet connectivity on Android devices. So for those of you who are using Umbrella, this feature is even better for you because it allows the use of AnyConnect as the proxy for Umbrella and enables always-on Umbrella DNS filtering. So definitely check this out if you'd like to secure data within your network and restrict device access to the internet. So our second Android feature is Android cross-profile widgets. As more people start to use their own mobile devices for work purposes, there are inevitable overlaps between personal apps and work apps, and keeping all of them strictly separate from each other has become somewhat inconvenient for the end user. So we're introducing this feature to improve the user experience while continuing to protect data security. So admins now can manage widgets that live in both the work profile and the end user's profile. You can specify which application packages in the work profile should be able to share widgets, and the end user will be able to add the widgets from the whitelisted apps to their home screen. The next 2 features are for our Apple users. So the first is APNS certificate renewal alerts. iPhone admins are required to reset their Apple APNS certificate every year. And as you can imagine, it's going to be very disruptive to your business operations if your Apple APNS certificate expires and you miss the renewal date. So with this new feature, you will be able to set up alerts and receive email notifications days in advance, so you can renew your certificate on time. The next one is also very exciting. We are now supporting iOS 14 and macOS 11. In case you missed in November, we have a lot of new profiles and commands available, so check them out. There's quite a few. I won't go through all of them. I will just quickly call out the option to skip settings for DEP. It'll really shorten the time it takes to activate a new iOS device, so it can be pretty handy if you're activating a high volume of devices. All right, that's all from me. I will pass it over to Imran to talk about secure SD-WAN.
Thanks, Iris. Good morning, everyone, or perhaps even good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone right now. I look after product marketing for Secure SD-WAN. What I do want to start by talking a little bit about, which is probably going to get a split response, one of three. Either you're going to roll your eyes, or you're going to lean in intently, or you're not going to care. So what I did want to very briefly talk about, and you'll hear more about this from us soon, is SASE. Secure Access Services Edge. No doubt you've heard the term. There's a huge amount of varying degrees as to what this means, what it is, what technologies are involved. Now, we don't have time to get into all that today, but I do want to preface my announcement today with just at a high level, the objective of what SASE is looking to achieve, which is just basically making sure that all devices and all users, wherever they might be in the world, have consistent security and experience. And actually, that's a shared vision with Meraki and the rest of Cisco. And this isn't a new vision. This is something that Cisco and Meraki have been working on for a good number of years, coming up to a decade now, following the transitions that's been happening in the industry. So only the term is new, but we've been working on this strategy for a significant amount of time. Part of what we just talked about is making security consistent. Now, what SASE in the framework that it lays out proposes is to achieve this is to basically move functions to the cloud edge, security functions in particular. So we're very fortunate to have in-house the market-leading best-of-breed cloud security stack with Cisco Umbrella. And so we have integration from Meraki MX security and SD-WAN appliances to all of the cloud security functionalities that Cisco Umbrella offers, things like DNS layer security, secure web gateway, cloud delivered firewall, CASB, and this is again also has integration into Secure X. What we're now able to provide customers is the agility to choose which is best for your particular use case. Is cloud security what you're looking for? In which case, great, we have you covered. If it's on-prem you're looking for, well, we will also have that as well. Now, I'm going to focus my attention on the cloud security piece and how you can actually begin your SASE journey today with the Meraki MX. So whether your traffic is critical or non-critical, you can very easily send your traffic from Meraki MX to Umbrella SIG today very easily. And you have a couple of different options, both of which are configurable using the dashboard GUI or through API. So what is available today is the connectivity to Umbrella SIG. You can go ahead and do this within the dashboard. All the parameters to set up IKV2 third-party VPN to Umbrella SIG is available as a drop-down. Just select the Umbrella drop-down. Everything else pre-populates and configures itself, and you can do this through API as well to get access to all of the great functionality cloud security that Umbrella offers. And coming very soon from June, we'll be able to actually extend the actual SD-WAN powered by Meraki fabric and ingrain that into Umbrella SIG and all the security functionalities that we have there. So we'll be able to optimize the flow of traffic from an MX to Umbrella SIG and basically make sure the best performing paths are being taken. So it's an extremely exciting space, but really what I want to make sure everyone is understanding that number one, the connectivity to Umbrella SIG we have today. Starting from June, we'll be able to have that extension to the SD-WAN fabric, and there will be no investment required to move from the connectivity to Umbrella SIG option today to the extension of the SD-WAN fabric as well. That is going to be included in everything that is available today. So if you purchase MX today, all of these options are going to be available to you with zero added cost. One thing I did also want to highlight in terms of SD-WAN analytics that we've enhanced is, for those of you who are familiar with the SD-WAN analytics that we have, really the main aim of what we're trying to achieve here is to reduce noise for all of the kind of alerts and things that you're seeing to ultimately serve the purpose of being able to identify the root cause of performance issues for web applications in particular, but also for the wide area network very easily. So Juan talked earlier on about smart thresholds and what we're doing there. And this is essentially the same sort of principle, and we're enhancing noise cancellation. Smart thresholds was essentially doing a automated baseline of how performance should be for an application and only notifying IT admins or dashboard users when abnormal performance was seen. So this is essentially what we're doing here as well. We're adding more granularity in terms of the alerting that we have for the wide area network, such that you as a user of the dashboard now can actually go and be more specific about parameters that you're putting into place about when you want to be notified about WAN changing or the uplink changing. So simply, if you want to just be informed when the status of that uplink changes, they're built in. But if you want to get granular as to, hey, if this uplink experiences packet loss greater than a certain percentage for more than a given period of time, you can also be notified that way, as this same principle applies for latency and utilization. So we're really excited about this, and a lot of customers have requested this in the past. So I'm going to hand over to myself now and talk a little bit about briefly about cellular. We've seen huge growth in cellular over the past few years. Really what we've seen is in the past, the majority of cellular applications were around 50% were for failover to basically provide that resiliency for the predominant wired uplinks you might have at your organization. Now, as we move further and the performance of cellular improves, and as we get closer to 5G becoming proliferated and accessible by all and widespread, really what we're seeing is a transition of those use cases. Certainly, the vast majority still is failover, but we're also starting to see applications where organizations are utilizing cellular uplinks to provide primary connectivity. And that's exactly the use case that's been deployed by Wilderness School here. They're based in Australia. And for years, they were basically trying to search for a solution which allowed students, when they were remote away from the actual school itself, at a campsite, and they've got a big learning initiative there where they spend weeks on end at the campsite studying the wilderness and studying nature. And they tried various different solutions. They tried USB dongles, which didn't work 100% of the time, and there was really a huge amount of variable performance from the connectivity. They tried satellite, which wasn't very cost effective, and again, had very poor performance if it was cloudy weather or just poor weather in general. When we launched the MG Cellular Gateway, they found out about it and then they grabbed it with both hands to give it a try. They've already got Cisco at their school, so they're familiar with the technology, and they wanted to extend that platform to wireless and see if the cellular use case worked for them. So they went ahead and actually implemented the MG Cellular Gateways initially as failover for the satellites. But actually what they were finding, it was extremely stable in most instances, and over a longer period of time that they did the test, it was more stable than the satellites. So in fact, what they did was reversed it. They actually now have the cellular as their primary, and it's very simple and straightforward, as you would expect from Meraki, to implement, deploy, and manage, and they now use this as primary. So it really is a nice case study that came across my desk, at least, that really did hit home that this transition from failover use case to legitimately using cellular for primary use cases is becoming a reality. So with that, I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Sarah Lynn, for an update on smart cameras. Over to you, Sarah Lynn.
Thank you, Imran. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Lynn, and I am in product marketing for our IoT products. So we don't have a lot of updates for you today, but we do have a pretty major one with respect to actually interact with the cameras and with video. The dashboard, which a lot of you know and love, hopefully, isn't optimized for 80% of MV customers. And that's because only about 20% of the people that interact and use cameras are the network admin, people who manage or are in charge of all of the network infrastructure. 80% of the people who use our cameras are only using the cameras for video. So these are people like police and public safety officers, front desk workers, facilities, loss prevention, school administrators. And the dashboard, while really great for managing the network infrastructure, isn't optimized for what these people need to do. So we are introducing the Meraki Vision Portal. And so this is a separate user interface from the dashboard. It's a dedicated tool designed for these video users and optimized for their everyday tasks. So it's easier to navigate between cameras and back and forth, and there's a much more streamlined flow for faster incident investigation. Now, this is available right now in beta, so you can go ahead and test it out yourself. And to make it even easier to access, instead of having to go through the dashboard, we've actually made this a progressive web app. So it can be installed and run just like a native app, creating an even better user experience for a lot of these people using the cameras on a regular basis. So what we have now is the Meraki dashboard that is left untouched. So it's still simplifying IT for all of our network administrators. And the Meraki Vision portal, which is an app for camera-only users. And now the Meraki Vision portal, as I mentioned, is available as a browser-based application. You can download it as that progressive web app, and it is optimized for larger mobile tablets. So if you have a tablet or something like that, you can still use it. It will work very well for you. But what about people using smaller mobile devices like phones? Well, we've actually also added functionality to our mobile app, the beta version of the Meraki mobile app. So now you have the ability to access live and historical video on the app with an easy timeline navigation and playback controls. So we really give users a great experience regardless of what they need to do and what platform they're on. And with that, I will copy Imran and turn it over to myself again to talk about a couple of updates with the sensors. So if you were at the Meraki Quarterly last time, or if you've been following us, you probably saw that we announced our newest product line, MT Sensors, last October. And the one major update that we've done since then is improvements to our alerting. So most of the time, sensors are kind of sitting in the background. You don't really think about them until there is an issue, and then you want to know. And that's really where alerting comes in. And we've added a bunch of enhancements to it. So the new alerting flow will allow you to set a schedule for when you want that alerting profile to be active. So say you only want to be alerted after hours or on weekends. And you can also set specific metrics with thresholds and time delays. So you only want to be alerted if a door is left open for more than a minute, or you only want to be alerted if the temperature exceeds a threshold for more than a couple minutes. You can also add email, SMS, and webhook alerts. And it also removed the water absence and door close state detection to kind of streamline it and make it more easy. So the use cases we saw for this, again, schedule alerting, so alerting during non-working hours, or shift-based alerting, because for each profile you can set alerts to go to a specific user. So you could have the same alert going 24/7, but have it sent to different users depending on who is on schedule. And then the time delayed alerting. So this helps reduce alert fatigue and make sure that you only really get the alerts that are important to you. Now, one of the main use cases that drove this need for some of this alerting is actually vaccine storage. And so vaccines are not only sensitive to temperature and other environmental changes, but they're a high-profile target for criminals in the cyber and physical world. As you may have heard, Cisco technology is being deployed to ensure that vaccines are carefully monitored at every stage, whether they're in a shipping container or at a mobile vaccination center. And we've been working with some leading healthcare organizations to deploy MV cameras and MT sensors to monitor movement and door access and turn any suspicious or concerning activity into real-time alerts. And so with that, we'll turn it over to everyone's favorite, Meredith, to talk about the Meraki community.
Thanks, Erilyn. Hi, everyone. My name is Meredith, and I'm here to give a brief update on what's happening in our online forum, the Meraki community. So as you can see, we have a brand new homepage. Very excited about this. So now by going to community.meraki.com, you'll still find our peer-to-peer technical support forums there on the left. But now you'll also see feature announcements board, our projects gallery containing all kinds of member-shared Meraki projects, a lot of cool stuff in there. The Learning Hub, which is full of Meraki trainings, and of course, the famed Meraki Unboxed podcast. Now, while you're there, you might be interested in checking out our month-long annual points contest. For the next 4 weeks, community members earn points just for participating in standard community discussions. The more points you earn, the more chances you have to win some fantastic swag. This round, in addition to swag, you'll have a chance to win an MT sensor and even a grand prize of an MV32 with 5-year license. So if you're not a member yet, just go to community.meraki.com and you can register using your Cisco credentials. And that's it. Thanks. Back to you, Michael.
Thank you, Meredith. So I just want to recap for everybody that obviously we're going to be putting this webinar online pretty soon. You want to take advantage of the details you've seen here, and do share this with anybody else who you think would find it interesting. Again, as Meredith said, big shout out to the Meraki Unbox podcast. Those are done very frequently, so go to that Meraki community site to be able to get the latest one. So we're going to start off with some Q&A here. We have only a few more minutes to go. I'm looking around the room, and let's take a look at some of the questions as they came in. And do we have a first question from the audience? Imran, go ahead. Why don't you get that started?
Yeah, it was a great question, and my fault actually. I didn't mention during the portion where I was announcing granular alerts on the wide area network. So the way to take advantage of that, if you are a Meraki Insight customer today, or if you have an MX appliance with the Secure SD-WAN Plus license, if you navigate your way to the left-hand nav pane, Meraki Insight and alerts, it'll be there. That's kind of there. It's not firmware dependent. If you just kind of refresh your page, if you haven't been in a while, it'll be there. It's in public beta right now, so please go ahead and test. Yeah, great question.
Thank you, Imran. Okay, we have another question from the audience.
Hi, Michael. We just had one come in on cameras. I talked about alerts on the MT sensors, but I did not talk about them on camera. So cameras also have the ability to generate alerts. You can alert on motion and set thresholds for the duration or how long the motion event lasts. And they can also be scheduled as well, just like the new MT alert. So you can only get notified during certain times too.
Fantastic, Sarah Lynn. Thank you so much for that response. Okay, do we have another question from the audience?
We've had several questions come up on the mobile app in terms of support for SAML SSO authentication. The short answer is that we are still working on it, so expect an update soon. But today we don't have the SAML, the markup language for the mobile SSO authentication, but expect it soon. There was also another one which was related to how do I get hands on the equipment, or where do I go for and look at the instant demo. That URL would be posted on the slide itself, but it's very simple. It's meraki.cisco.com/form/demo.
Perfect. Thank you for that update. Okay, another question from the audience.
Hey, Michael, there were a few questions around sticky client, and one of them was, where do I actually find that in the dashboard? So for those who are interested, if you go to network-wide clients and then history, that is where the sticky client detection alert would pop up.
And David, that's in the Meraki dashboard itself, correct?
Correct.
Okay, good.
There have been some questions about the SIG support of the umbrella SIG connection. So what we do have today is the MX can connect to the umbrella SIG via the third-party VPN IPsec connection. So that is available today to fulfill the SASE solution needs. And obviously, we're working further to extend those capabilities towards the SD-WAN fabric. But today, if there is a need to connect the MX to the umbrella SIG, you can do it using simple plain IPsec.
Thank you, Praveen. That's great. And it's really great to hear there's lots of SASE questions out there. We love our SASE questions. All right, everyone. A final note, you can see a lot of us presenting live at Cisco Live. These are the Meraki sessions that are listed here. Everything from Internet of Things, security, switching, wireless. Cisco Live will be available starting March 30 and 31st, so feel free to sign up at ciscolive.com. This is a real deep dive. If you've been following along with our webcasts here for the quarterly, you can get even more granular answers to your questions. So we invite you to sign up today, and feel free to investigate all of the sessions, but specifically we like you when you go to the Meraki sessions, because that helps us improve our product and improve your experience as well. So definitely want to turn that up. And with that, we want to thank you so much for spending part of your day with us. And thank you for joining this Meraki quarterly webcast. We're going to see you back here in about 3 months. Thank you, guys.